Hi, I'm David Allen Lambert, and I'm here with Terri O'Connell. We're your virtual historians from virtualhistorians.com. We're delighted to bring you another exciting interview with a good friend of ours, Daniel Horowitz, who's the genealogy expert at MyHeritage.com. Now, you remember we had Daniel on a little while ago, and of course, you know about MyHeritage because of its leading databases and connecting and with DNA. I mean, for genealogists, it's a no-brainer. For historians, we may not know about all the amazing databases MyHeritage has, but I'm sure that if you explore, you'll find out more. And Daniel might give you a quick overview of what that's all about. But why we have him today is because, just when I thought that colorization, enhancement of photos, deep nostalgia, animated photos. Do you remember those pictures that didn't look really well? They're cracked, the pieces missing. Yeah, they did it again, folks. They now have a photo editor, and this will blow your mind away. So without further ado, our friend Daniel is here to tell us all about it. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us all the way from Israel. And it's always great to have you on our show.
Hello, David. Hello, Terri. Thank you very much for the invitation. And whenever and whatever you need, I'm always happy to be with friends, and you two are definitely in that category.
Oh, we are definitely honored to be in that category. So how long has the photo editor been in the works? Was it being rolled out in theory when you first started doing photos with the same idea that you could fix them as well?
Listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know.
Okay.
We're presented every couple of months with the roadmap, and I really didn't see that in the roadmap, but I think that everything really started with the in color. And that was kind of the first step, because most of us genealogists, or you historians, we have a bunch of pictures in black and white, but we see our day-to-day life in colors. And one of the questions was how these people really looked and how this scene was in colors. So we developed that as the first answer to the first question. And then, of course, people started to say that the colors were great, but the pictures were not necessarily good enough. So we said, okay, so we need to enhance the pictures, right, in order to get better colors. So we came with the enhancement. And then I do know that one of the employees was playing with this new technology of animation. And not everybody in MyHeritage is a genealogist, right? Not even our workers, although we would love to have everybody working on MyHeritage being a genealogist, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are just people that like pictures, that like history, that likes documents and all kind of things. So Gilad, which again, I think he's the greatest leader that a company can get, he saw that immediately, a niche for the non-genealogy people, okay? And when I saw that, I said, I don't know, I want to see my aunts and uncles and all this strange move, but it was not for me. It was not for genealogies, and it may not have been also for historians. It was for everybody else out there to catch their eye and to bring it into the history, into the genealogy world. Now, of course, the next step was what we do with all these pictures, that if they were black and white, we will colorize. If they were not good, we will enhance it. We will even put the gimmick of animation with deep nostalgia. But once you have a picture that is cracked, that is scratched, that is damaged, it doesn't matter what other technologies you apply to it, it will not look good. So I think that it's really kind of like the usual or the natural next step on going and repair that picture the best we can in order to have a nice image and a nice memory of our ancestors or a particular event in the history of the humankind.
It's really amazing because I have a photo that's in my house that was taken about 1932. My mother's about 2 years old, and all of her siblings that were up to about 7 years older than her, they're all like small kids. But the picture must have been in light for a long time because it's slightly faded. Well, enhancing that with MyHeritage brought it out. Colorizing was amazing. Deep nostalgia making my mother smile as a toddler brought a tear to my eye. But as a historian and a family genealogist who wants to preserve these pictures and share them, the crack across my aunt's forehead or pieces of the photo missing, well, like kind of like puzzles. I mean, for historians and genealogists, that missing puzzle piece, it's just not 100%. And once again, MyHeritage, you did it, Daniel, you and your team. It's like I'm looking at the photo that was taken in 1932 like it was 1932, nearly 90 years ago. It's amazing. So thank you. And that's only just one of the pictures that I've tried.
Well, David, you just mentioned missing pieces, and definitely we cannot reproduce that missing piece because we can only try to work with whatever the picture has and try to accommodate pixels around.
Oh, sure.
But still, I love going to those flea markets, Saturday morning, and you see those people selling those boxes of old photos or postcards, and most of them are actually damaged because either the weather or the conditions that they put it. And I know that some archives also have the same problem because people give them the material that nobody took care of them for many, many years. And now the technology is actually able to help and repaired. And also, I have to mention it, like very inexpensive, because there is a huge amount of people out there that they are very passionate and they're very good as well. But unfortunately, it's a little bit expensive, their work, and they're doing a brilliant work trying to restore those images. And I have seen examples in social media and a lot of things. And that's wonderful, but this is not the same thing. This is a fast, inexpensive solution for your family pictures or for historical pictures. And then, if this will be, like, as you said, like the picture of your mother, your grandmother, you may want to invest in a second step or giving that to, let's call it a more professional person. But you will not do that with 20, 30, or 50 photos that you have in a shoebox in your attic. No, listen, because I really don't understand people, okay? I understand historians, that I could do.
Yeah.
But think, like, where all this material is being stored is either up on the attic or down on the basement. The worst two places that you can have in order to store this material. So MyHeritage is just trying to put, a little bit of help here for everybody.
Well, you're truly preserving the worthwhile past. And I think that's one of the things with historians. I mean, maybe if you're listening and you're with a historical society, you probably have innumerable amounts of photographs, may it be from daguerreotypes all the way to color photographs that have damage to them that you've either had in your collection for years or someone donated. I'm not saying that what these photo restorers do isn't brilliant, isn't amazing art. But again, if you have dozens or hundreds of photos that you want to work on, the price of a MyHeritage membership for your archivist or your historian at your historical society or museum is so well worth it. I mean, it pays for itself. And the cost of joining MyHeritage is less than the cost to do one picture. Yeah. So it's a no-brainer.
And then you have unlimited amount of photos. You can do the whole society archive with only that one account, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's tremendous. Is there a way that you could show us how this works? I know that deep nostalgia
definitely
gave us the animation that was like, wow.
So as you can see, I already have here one picture already prepared, and I have to admit, this is not my family. This is actually my wife's family. Okay, but of course that I need to also to take advantage of all this also for her. immediately you will see here a button that says repair in the top, right where the others are. And you know, the interesting thing, David, you mentioned about the capabilities of MyHeritage is to think how people should use these tools, because although this was not the order that they came out, this is the order actually that we are suggesting people to use. Like first you repair, then you enhance, then you colorize, and then you animate the picture.
Makes absolute sense. And that was actually something I was going to ask you, is that you probably now have a new pecking order of what you want to do with the photos.
Exactly. So there's another thing, and some people may not see the repair button here. And this is again because we are using artificial intelligence. So we are reading the image and we're detecting what the image needs. So if we don't detect that there is scratches or missing parts or anything bad with the picture, we will not show you that button. But you're still able to use it, because under those three dots here on the left, when you click here, you will see the repair button if you don't have it automatically. Okay, right. So I'm going to click just repair. That's all what it takes, and just a couple of seconds. And you're going to see that most of the scratch are going to go. Okay, this is as always the before and after, and you can move it. Okay, and you can see that most of the scratches are gone. Not all of them, but most of them. Okay, now this is like the first step. This is like the regular repair. We understand that normally, but I have done it already so many times, you will see a pop-up here saying, okay, we restored it with the medium capabilities. If you think that the photo needs extra repair, you can click here on the photo settings, and this will bring the extensive repair model. All you need to do is just to select, because this was the gentle, the default, what we have, and click on preview. So now we're applying a little bit extra layer of the technology, and you can see that it really works. Okay, you only need to click and hold. This is the before and this is the after. So now more of the marks that I had here are disappearing. So now I'm going to save this, and I'm going to keep this image, which is the best one. And now you can see the before and the after. And you will notice that is not perfect. And we're not saying that this technology should be perfect. But I don't know. If you ask me, I would say that it's doing quite a good job.
You know, I think that's great. And because, I mean, I know that I've used like Photoshop and some different Photoshop elements where I've had to go and fix little areas like maybe the eye. You could easily go and fix that, but think of the hours you're saving the novice like myself of how to match up the colors. And especially when you're trying to match up black and white, it's one thing if you're painting in, say, purple, but it's one thing that you get different shades, 256 shades of black and white.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. And even what it did with the pattern on her dresses, amazing. You know,
and you can always click here and download the repair photo, and you will be jumping ahead, as you said, a few steps, and then you can just open Photoshop or then give it to digital designer and say, hey, you know, I have this photo, it was repaired, but still the eye is still not perfect. Maybe with a little bit of work, you can improve this and you will get a perfect photo. So MyHeritage is just bringing you as fast and as forward into this process as you can.
That is amazing.
And then, of course, you can enhance, you can colorize, or you can animate, which I think it's also one of the best. I'm going to use the word, but I'm pretty sure Gilad is not going to like it. Gimmick, okay? Because it's definitely not genealogies, but it's really emotive. Like when you see your ancestors coming to life and just moving like that, even if the photo is not completely repaired, Now I'm going to show you what I am preparing for my presentation whenever I show this. And I actually ask Aunt Beppy if she agrees that this is an actual very good technology. Yeah, and Terri is already imagining what's going to happen here. Right, Aunt Beppy? Do you think it's a good technology? Yeah, you see? She agrees with me. What can I say?
Yeah, exactly. Getting family to agree with you, especially deceased family, that's a great trick. But we were talking when we talked about deep nostalgia the last time, and I think as we try to encourage the younger generation, Daniel, to be historians or to be family historians or genealogists, what a great way. It's not just a one-dimensional old photo now. The children can go in and animate it. They can have their great-great-great-grandmother blow them a kiss and give them a wink.
Is not boring anymore. And I was, for 15 years, I was a history teacher, specialized in Jewish history. But, one of the first things I did when I took that project on my hands is taking out the word history. Because again, with all your respects, if you tell a kid that you're going to teach them history, he's already saying, oh, come on, this is boring. Right. Well, this is a way of bringing history to kids in a definitely not boring way. This is digital. This is what they know. They know colors, they know movements, they know animations. This is a challenge.
Well, and the thing about, I think, introducing a new way of teaching history visually is very engaging for young people, because once you have adopted the idea and found your own ancestors fascinating, local history, may it be Israel or Massachusetts or Terri is in Illinois, now becomes your history. And as you're learning about it in school, may it be social studies or history or world history, you know about your ancestor, they become more fascinating because you maybe animated their photo, you saw their gravestone, or you found out that's where you get your Irish DNA from. But it allows them to be better students because they can see where they are in local history and in world history and how they fit into this great big puzzle of the history of mankind. So yeah, I think it's great. You've given a great teaching element. I showed my daughter, who is a school teacher, and she thinks it's fascinating. And I think a lot of teachers will find this is a great thing to have in a learning center to, let's show, a picture of Abraham Lincoln, but let's animate him. I mean, the video that you had of Abraham Lincoln, I fell off my chair practically. Oh, wow. And I said, I want to try that.
Yeah, it's fun. That's the only way the kids are going to be engaged today, and everybody, because both the animation and the restore has been proving to be emotive and to be bringing people into the interest into genealogy, into history, and learning more and understanding better.
During COVID around the world, I mean, especially those who have had a chance to use the MyHeritage app for their photographs, you've given people something to do to keep their mind off it, which is also another wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you this, and I'm sure I'm going to get a corporate answer, but what's next?
Okay, so yeah, you're totally right. We are working on the next step. I actually have to admit, I have seen it. I have my doubts. Okay. It will depend a lot on how we will present it to the audience. I'm not sure it's going to be for genealogy people. Maybe historians will like it, but definitely the regular Joe Smith walking down the street, the kids especially are going to love it. And I'm very sorry, but I cannot tell any more about it. Otherwise, I'm not going to be working for MyHeritage, and we're not going to have these opportunities anymore.
No, we want you back to talk about it. So what I want to do is I want to get you on the schedule. Just know the first week that it's announced, I want to be on your calendar.
Right, exactly.
We want you on to talk about it. So this
you
is
got it.
Great.
You got it. I can give you a preview 24 hours before, and I will do that.
Okay,
excellent.
Perfect.
You know,
I want to say that I think it's brilliant. If you look at all these big genealogy, family history companies, nobody is really looking to engage that next generation. And you guys are really just outside the box. Every new thing that you put out to bring them in. I'm hoping that as you bring them in and they start learning about these people that they're playing with their pictures, that they're then in turn looking to find out more about who Aunt Beppy is.
Well, that definitely, that is how it should go, because once you have that picture, exactly, first of all, who is in the picture? So you need to get a name, a first name and a last name. And then you can ask, okay, so when the picture was taken, and there are ways to know how, by the dress, by the hair, when more or less the picture was taken. And then you ask where the picture was taken. So all those questions that you should be asking yourself or encouraging kids to ask themselves, this is going to bring them to build a family tree. Like in this case, I had only one person in the picture, but if you have a couple, what happened to the couple? Did they have kids? They didn't have kids. If there is a small kid in the picture, what happened with him when he grew up? All this exactly is what is going to bring people into the study of the history. Now, one more thing I would like to say, and I don't know politically correct how good it is that I will be saying, but I really appreciate from MyHeritage, not only as an employee, but as a user, that, as you said, every time we're bringing new technology and new things, but we haven't forgot about the rest. We keep on improving the family tree. We keep on improving and bringing more records. We keep on the DNA. We keep on with the main avenues that we have developed, and we keep on bringing new things in all the aspects.
that is very true. That is very true. I mean, I think there's been examples of, not naming other companies, but where they get excited on something else and they completely forget about one element of it, and they kind of leave their user base in the dark. It's like there's no improvements on it. It's like there's a new shiny object in the world. That's what they're concentrating on. Or they even discontinue that, which has happened in the past too. Always amazing. Daniel, for those that aren't familiar with MyHeritage, obviously they can get to myheritage.com, but can you kind of throw out like a user base or how many DNA kits are in there? Just some kind of rough numbers.
I can give you quite an exact number. The last number I heard, we have 4.8 million DNA kits in the database.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and we keep working hard, not only in the US, but across the whole world, to try to bring more DNA into the database.
And there's a lot of other companies out there, and I always say, it's good to spread the love around and test with all of them. And with MyHeritage, I was able to find for my wife a match that solved a genealogical problem. She had always heard a story that her great-grandfather had come over from Scotland early and went to Western Canada and went back. And then in about 1925, immigrated to America finally and lived out the rest of his life with his new wife and his first wife and his son, her grandfather. It was a DNA match in Vancouver, British Columbia, for someone with the same last name. And I realized that, oh my goodness, this was the brother, that it was British Columbia that is where her great-grandfather went to go live with his brother. And they had stories, they had photos, but it was that little bit of my wife's DNA that she still had from her great-great-grandparents that
make the connection.
And 4.8 million people, it's really like buying an extra lottery ticket for your genealogical exploration. There's more options there. And
you know what, David, I will not be a good genealogist if I don't say it. And I think that we all agree. You need to have both your DNA and your tree in as many places as you can, because you never know where the lead is going to come. It may come from MyHeritage, it may not come from MyHeritage, it may come from another one. But if you are not there, you will never know. And the good thing is that you can upload to MyHeritage whatever you have done with other companies. You just need to download your digital file, then put it in MyHeritage, and you don't need to pay anything for that.
Right.
And you don't need to pay anything until you get that very good match that then you're going to want to see and communicate with the other person and see more details about it. And then you pay.
Sure.
And until then, you don't need to.
Daniel, what's the annual subscription that one would pay for a MyHeritage account right this
The complete subscription, it's normally about $270, but we always have discounts, and there is Mother's Day, Father's Day, Independence Day. There are so many holidays in the calendar, just excuses to get a very good deal on a MyHeritage subscription.
And it's been a user myself now for many years. I want to say that it's definitely well worth it. And I'm sure Terri will agree 100% as well. Well, as always, I am grateful for your time, for your information, and your enthusiasm for yet one more thing to keep historians and genealogists off the street at night and in their houses and exploring and making genealogy and history even more fun for their family. Well,
thank you for the invitation.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Hope to see you in person soon as things start to get a little better around the world.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Fingers are crossed. Well, as always, it's a pleasure to be with everyone. And as always, Daniel, thank you for being here, friend. Until next time, virtually yours. Take care.
For those of you watching on YouTube, remember you can also find us on the audio podcast of your choice. Currently, we can be found on Anchor, Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. And for those of you listening on audio, remember you can always find the full video recording on our YouTube channel. And if you like this episode, please feel free to leave a comment on the website or on YouTube. As always, you can find us at virtualhistorians.com. You can email us at info@virtualhistorians.com. And we ask that you please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you.